Hello everybody, I'm going to do a review on this Porter Cable Model 557 biscuit joiner, plate joiner. I bought this for a project that I'm getting ready to do and I haven't even used it yet. Came straight out of the box right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you what came with it. Of course, the plate joiner itself, it's a nice hard shell blow molded case. Instruction manual. A clear plate guard, get into that here in a little bit. A dust port that you can put on it. The wrench to take off the blade, install a new one. The dust bag itself, and like I said, the plate joiner itself. So I'm going to get this out and go over some of these items, maybe show how to change the blade. I'm going to start right now and say they used to sell these with the 2-inch blade included, so you could use the FF size, which are really small biscuits, and I needed to use that for the project I'm working on, but now they no longer come with that blade. So this thing was about $224 as you see it right here, minus of course biscuits and that 2-inch blade. And then I had to buy the 2-inch blade, and that little 2-inch blade was $44.99 at Woodcraft. And I'll show what you get for that money, and it's not much. So let me get this thing out and get on the workbench, and I'll try to give you a little finer detail. And then I'm going to use it. It's clean now, so I wanted to show it before it was used. And I'm going to do a couple biscuits and maybe show how it works. And okay, now I'll get this thing out of the box, its case, and just try to go over what I know now about it. But there is a fence on the front of it. You loosen this here, and you can see it slides up to 90. It's incremented on a scale here, and you can pick anything between 0 and 90 degrees, but it will also go up to about 135 degrees with this slot right here. You can bring the fence up into that area, and it does have a 90 slot that you can hit it here, but it sweeps up to 130. And it has some increments on it, 105, 112 and a half, 120, 135. Okay, so that's pretty much the fence. You know, so if you were just going to do something on the edge of a board, you know, obviously you would put your board here and then plunge in, and there's the cutter coming out to make the cut. If you were going to do something like a shelf, you know, that you don't really have the support and you can't support the fence with it, you can fold the fence all the way up and then put it down on the surface, kind of like this, and plunge straight down in. So that's kind of a nice feature there. You don't have to take anything off. It's all integrated. Excuse me. Excuse me. What I will say though is there's some grip tape on the front of this, and when you have your fence down into the 90 like so, this will kind of bite and grab onto the edge of your board to help keep it, you know, stable, I guess. When you fold the fence up this way, if you were going to use it in this downward direction, it does not grab with that grip tape, because that grip tape on the front of this edge right through here is actually a little below this fence after it's collapsed. Probably shouldn't be an issue, but you know, I just noted that. There's also on this fence, for doing narrower stock, it comes with this plastic guard that you can put on it, and it goes in this direction here and it goes up and snaps in. I really don't know how long this thing is actually going to last, because once you get it in there, it's kind of a pain to get it off. But it is here, and they do say that you know, if you're using this guard, you need to drop your blade by 5/32, which is basically the width of the slot it cuts, because of the thickness of the blade. And that brings me into the height adjustment of the fence. Right here, if you loosen this, on this side there's a scale. It starts in at 1/4 on the bottom, and it increments in 1/16 of an inch. And of course they say if you're using this plastic fence that, you know, you need to lower your blade by 5/32. Well, it doesn't really equate on this scale, so I guess you have to guess or measure off of it, because these are in 1/16 increments, you know, so you have to guess, okay, well, 2/16 and a half, you know. But anyway, that's how that works. The depth of cut, it'll do biscuits 0 or FF 0, 10, 20. I believe you can use number 6 biscuits. It will do some hinges and things of that nature, which is kind of neat. So like I said, I'm going to be using on the FF. I have biscuits for that, and I also have I believe number 10 biscuits. And you would just turn this dial here and it would change your depth of cut when you make your cut, which is pretty neat. So it's kind of indexed for you. It does have a fine adjustment right here if you want to really tailor your depth of your biscuit specifically. You can loosen off this and then make your micro adjustments, tighten it down to, you know, do whatever you want. So that's really the nutshell in that right there. I'm going to go ahead and take the blade off of it and show you how to change that, and then I'll show that 2-inch blade, show you what you get for your money there. But while I'm in this area, if you can see right down in here, this is the spindle lock pin. That's going to come in handy when you see the next shot. I'm going to be holding that with my finger, but you're not going to be able to see it. And to get the guard off, there are just 4 Phillips screws right in here. Loosen them out maybe 3 turns, and then this will slide back and come off. So let me get this thing loosened up to where I can take it off, and then we'll change the blade. Okay, like I said, I've loosened these screws up about a few turns. Now this plate will just slide back and come right off, no problem. Set that aside. Comes with a supplied Allen wrench to take off the blade. And to do that, like I said, I just mentioned that hole in there to lock this spindle. You kind of have to rotate it and find the position, and there it is. Little loose in there. Take this puppy out. And there's the 4-inch blade it comes with. Has carbide teeth on it. Don't know how long they'll last. We'll find out. I didn't price the 4-inch blades to see what a replacement would cost. Let me go in here and show the 2-inch blade. You can see this little guy right here. I don't even have it out of the package yet. Like I said, this is brand new. So just to give you a little bit of a size up scale on what you got, you know. This little guy here, like I said, was $44.99 at Woodcraft. But unfortunately, had to have it for the job I actually bought this thing to do. So that's what you get there. So don't expect to get this thing out of the box and use the FF biscuits for it, which are the smallest ones, because it's not going to work. I'm not going to put the 2-inch blade on here, but I'm going to explain what you do, because there is something in here. Once you get this one off, obviously you put the 2-inch blade on. The blades are marked for a rotation. There's an arrow on the blade itself. I believe the 2-inch is marked as well. It might be, I don't see it on this side. It may be on the other side, but surely it's marked in some way, or you can just reference them. And once you get the blade tightened up on the 2-inch, you're actually going to push this thing up like so, and you're going to pull this lever up right here and pivot it around and stick it in this hole, and then slowly let go. And then at that point you would put your cover plate back on and lock it down. And what that does, because you have a smaller 2-inch blade, if you left it out like this, you'd have to travel a great distance before the blade even came out the front, and it was unnecessary. So by moving it up like this, you can see you're just traveling a very small distance, and it comes back and locks up against this. So that is written in the manual, but that's how that does work. So of course this would be the, you know, putting the 4-inch blade back on would be back here. I've read some reviews today actually on people that were complaining about this dust port being plugged up very quickly to where the bag is just absolutely worthless. I can't make any, you know, opinion on that at this point, but I'm sure I will in the future, of course, as I use this tool. And of course it did come with this little 45 fitting you can stick on here, hook your bag to it, or I guess you could hook a collection hose up to this as well. And I don't have a hose that small, so I may try to come up with something later, but at this point I hear that the dust bag is somewhat useless, like I said, so we'll figure that out. But in a nutshell, that's really the tool. You know, of course it's loud, it sounds like an angle grinder, because basically that is the body of it right up in here. This is, I bet if you bought one of their angle grinders, it would be the exact same head. You know, so it is a little bit noisy in that relationship, but there's very little plastic on it. The thumb wheels are plastic. There is that adjustment on the front to adjust the height of the fence. I don't know if I actually did cover that, but it's there, and those are the charts. The handle, of course, is plastic. I believe these guides here are plastic, but for the most part, it's Porter Cable quality. You know, I'm a big fan of those Porter Cable. I have quite a few tools of theirs, and I've never had a problem with any of them. Now, I don't use them every day. You know, I'm kind of a hobbyist or do something around the house, but they've always served my purpose well. Of course, you pay a little bit more money for them, but I think the quality and that value is there. If you have it to spend the extra money, go that mile. I know that DeWalt makes one almost just like this, because I believe they're kind of in bed with Porter Cable in some way, maybe. But I don't know if it does the 2-inch or the small FFs. And of course, there's, you know, other brands as well, but it's, you know, like I said, I like Porter Cable, so I went with it. I'm going to get the thing together and do a joint, and maybe I'll show it. Okay, well, we're going to do our first test here. I'm just going to use 2 pieces of scrap board. You know, these have not been jointed or anything. I'm just going to do it and see what we get. Just make a butt joint here with the biscuit joiner. So on the joiner itself, I've set the fence depth to 3/8 of an inch, which is about half my 3/4 thickness here. I've adjusted the depth stop to a number 10 biscuit. So we're going to be putting in, as a test, just 2 number 10 biscuits. So to set this up, let's say we're going to put a biscuit here and a biscuit here. You don't have to necessarily get perfectly straight lines on these, because you have a little bit of lateral motion. So I've just made 2 marks across there, and we're going to do the first one right now. I'm going to hit these 2, hit the others, see how they line up. Try to keep my head out of the way here. Alright, it's going to get loud. Here we go. Okay, well, you can see the slots we cut there. See if the biscuit fits in. Wow, look at that. Fits great. Now in these biscuits, when you put glue in these slots, the glue will actually absorb up into the biscuit and cause it to swell and make a tighter joint. So just slide them together, and you can see my registration marks. You can see how much lateral movement I have in these. I don't know, maybe an inch in either direction for this particular number. So it feels, you know, obviously, like I said, these boards are, you know, not ultra flat and they're not jointed on the ends, but that's a nice transition across these 2. I can just barely feel it at all. So obviously, you know, you'd edge glue your biscuits in and then put it together and clamp it, but all in all, it's going to work for my purpose. Okay, I wanted to close the video out a little bit differently. When I shot the last clip, I thought I was finished. I went ahead and came out and did, you know, one of my boards that's actually going to be glued together right here. I just put in 7 biscuits along this board, so a total of 14 slots I cut, you know, and both of them combined. And what I did find about that dust collection bag, that I've been told that it stops up, it's not a joke. You can see the end of this port. It is just plugged full of the chips. And after I did about 2 or 3 cuts, you know, I was pretty much, you know, dust free where I'm standing. And then, you know, as I was making the cut, it just started shooting out the front and the side, you know, when I was wearing a lot of the shavings. So what they did say is correct about this dust port, especially just using it with a bag. You know, it might work okay if you were doing like MDF or something. This is just a clear pine I'm using, you know, so it does come off in some, you know, shavings like this, because there's not very many, you know, cutter teeth on that. But it did pack it up, and I'm sticking my finger in here and I can feel it. You know, it's just packed all the way all the way down through there. So, you know, if you're using a collection hose on this, it might help prevent that, but that is an issue. You know, I'll deal with it, but like I said, everything was correct on, you know, the bag not really collecting anything, especially using this type of material. So hope this helps you guys out. Thanks for watching, and good luck.